This is David Cohen. It is Sunday. It is unfortunately still summer. It's quite warm. It was hot the last few days. Now it's warm, very warm, and we expect much better temperatures for us as of tomorrow until end of next week. Yeah, another week. And I'm going to talk once again about one of the two cameras I started this channel with. It is the Leica D-Lux 8. It's now more or less a year that I switched from the D-Lux 7 to the D-Lux 8. And make a long story short, upon announcement of the new camera, of the new model, I immediately reserved my D-Lux 8 and I immediately started to look for a buyer for a D-Lux 7. I was very lucky to make a very acceptable, very good cut, let's say. A lot of people, and that is when I started, it was about the Fujifilm X106 and this Leica. A lot of people until today, and that is the reason why I'm back to this camera again, even after a year, I read so much nonsense about this camera. A lot of people somehow seem to come back to their previous videos. You remember, I don't do reviews. I talk about the experience. I talk about from a professional's point of view and not from an influencer, because most of the influencers are professional influencers and professionally ignorant of what is really going on. What I wanted to say, look at this. This is what I hate about them. What I wanted to say is now so many return. Some of them kind of went back on their original review in the sense that they, after a year plus minus, realized that this is a really good camera, a very capable camera. But little surprise, a lot of people double down. Now let us have a look. This is a 1,600 euros camera. That is not little, but this is not a professional camera. For many people, and I'm grateful to all of you who contact me, who reach out and say, I finally got this camera. I'm so happy I got it. Others wrote, I even sold my other cameras. Some of them at least see my professional cameras. And a lot of them say it is my only camera. That's very good. If this is what you are happy with, if this ticks the boxes that you need, then this can be your go-to camera. It can be your main camera. Now, you know, I think at least you should know, my job, and a Micro Four Thirds camera. I had a Micro Four Thirds camera back then, the newly released Olympus EM1 Mark II. But this camera certainly cannot do the job, but I use it as an everyday camera. I use it for a lot of things that people use their smartphones for. You will remember, and I will link it once again, Justin Mott, a award-winning, prestigious photographer, also uses it as his everyday camera. He even uses this camera for location scouting. I remind you all of Hugh, Hugh's, what is it called? Introduction. Yeah, Hugh Brownstone's introduction. Review even, a very detailed clip that I always recommend to all these people who are really photographers say that for what they use it for, it is one of the best, if not the best. And I still say that the money I paid for this camera was one of my best investments. I love it. It's not expensive at all. The build quality, the menu system, the design. I mean, look at this. Look at this. This is what Leica is known for. Now, one of the main criticisms I read is, yeah, it's not a Q3. Who said this is going to be an addition to the Q series? Are these people really insane? How can you even remotely get up in the morning, believe that you are sane, and then come up with a video saying, yeah, it's not a Q, it doesn't have the Leica looks, it's not meant to have the Leica looks. It is an entry model to the Leica universe. It is an everyday camera for so many of us. It is the main camera of other, also many of us, and it is a lot of things, but it is not a Q, it is not a NSL. Therefore, why should Leica offer Leica looks? I would like to have the Leica looks, but I'm not an idiot to expect that everything, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10,000 camera, because some people even said, yeah, but it's not an M. No, of course it's not an M. Learn reading. It says D-Lux and not M. And the additions to the Q series also have a Q and not a D-Lux in front. So even the most simple-minded, I don't know, multicellular life form should be able, at least by the designation of the camera, to understand that this is certainly not a Q, not an SL, not an M. Therefore, as with everything in life, certain features are reserved for those who can and want to, willing to, capable of investing more money for whatever reason. This is not democracy, and what these people want is not democracy, it is socialism. First of all, I hate socialism. Second of all, are you sane or insane? Now, those of you who follow me for a little bit more than a year, will remember another mantra I keep telling. That's the beautiful thing about nature. I think it was even a bumblebee. Yeah, it was a bumblebee. What do I keep saying? Find your niche. What is it that you want to do? You cannot and should not even aspire to become a jack of all trades. Why? Because you also cannot, when you are an amateur professional cook, have you ever seen one of the big stars of cooking? All these awesome chefs that they do everything, they offer everything. So their restaurant is from A like Antarctica to Z like Zaire. which doesn't exist today anymore. No, everybody, and I really urge you to find the kind of photography that suits you best, your personality, your interest. I give you an example. I was always interested in street photography. I always try it in my not spare time, because I don't have spare time, since what I love what I do, yeah. But now and then, only recently, a few days ago, I tried it again. I would like to, but I'm not good at it. That's why you very rarely see on my second Instagram account street photography. I have the greatest respect for people. I have who do this. I have the greatest respect for Hugh Brownstone. He is brilliant. He's a genius. He is, and I'm not paid to say that, he is at the same level of Henri Cartier-Bresson. And I stand by my opinion. Looking at this, I should give it up. And that's why you don't see much, because it doesn't stand the test of my peers. I would like to do, I don't know, abstract photography. I'm a little bit better at this. But my niche is, as you see, as a former Playboy photographer, you can imagine what it is. I prefer to be careful with YouTube, but that is my niche, and therefore I'm choosing my camera. The Leica Q3 is already something. That's why I didn't have the Q1, so the Q and the Q2, because they were not right on point for what I need, that I was willing to. Was always dreaming about the next step, and when the Q343 came, it was finally time to do it. That's why I chose very carefully what I'm using for it. And I tell you, and of course, outside, sometimes I will not have my Q3 with me. When I have this, the photos are so great, and you saw it in the links I offered in one of my previous 2 or 3 clips about this guy who made the huge printout. You can do a lot of this, but you need to know when and where. I wrap it up. Leica D-Lux 8 is a fantastic continuation of the D-Lux series. I'm very happy. A lot of people who know what they are talking about it immediately adopted the camera, made it part of their workflow, made it part of their gear, and so do I. Don't listen to those who tell you it is not this, it is not that. Yes, but only idiots would assume it is for everything. The same with the Q3, yeah, but it doesn't have interchangeable lens. Have you ever read about it? It is a fixed lens camera. What does it tell you? And people like me who had a lot of interchangeable lens cameras, who had a lot of lenses even with the Canon system, I parted ways with this because I didn't want to have interchangeable lenses, because that brilliant 43mm lens does it, nails it. Would I like to have something more at times? Yes. Am I willing to spend money for that doesn't even bring in money? No. Why? Because I know what I want. I know what I need. I know exactly where I stand. And this is my advice once again to all of you. Find your niche. Find the camera. Don't expect everything for everything. It doesn't exist in real life. It doesn't exist here. That's my advice for today, that's my advice I gave yesterday. That's the advice I will give tomorrow, next week, and as long as I live. Another thing, just because we are talking about this, when I was a teenager, some of you may know I'm a watch fan. When I was a teenager, Timex was a big thing, and I had a few Timex watches. Now, Timex came out with a new watch, and look the similarity. It's not a copy. It is the closest they can go to this particular watch that you will recognize when you're into watches. But it clearly says Timex. It even shares the last two letters with this company. What am I talking about? I like the design, but I don't like the price tag because I don't get more for that additional amount of money. You can say, yeah, it's an investment. I'm not into investments. I'm a human being who is going to die some time down the road. I'm not into investments. But what I like is the Yasmina smile. I like the design. I like the build quality. I like everything about it. And that is good enough for me because it ticks all my boxes. I don't need the other 5 letters that end with EX because I don't see the added value to this. Apart from all of this, I would have to wait for I don't know what. I'd rather spend the money on us doing things, maybe buying another Leica. That makes way more sense for me. Anyway, guys, I hope I was controversial enough for you to write. I hope you liked what I said, even if you didn't like it, answer me. But as I keep saying, the moment you start bad-mouthing or just ad hominem attacks, I will remove you. I will block you. Not because I'm unwilling to hear opinions, but attacks are not opinions. And I will not allow on my channel that somebody says, yeah, they are liars, they are thieves, they are frauds. Nothing will survive of this. I wish you a nice Sunday.